begun. The streaming war has.
Proving that the fandom menace isn't just toxic white males, it's toxic femininity, brought to you by Midnight's Edge with Miss Sarcastic Nerd, Geeky Candy, and your hostess with the mostest, the mistress of mayhem herself, Miss Mary Mayhem. Welcome once again to a brand new edition of Toxic Femininity here on Midnight's Edge. How is everybody in the chat doing tonight? Hopefully you're doing well. We already got a super chat right off the bat, ladies. Mr. Wolverine 007. Nice. A little too late for me tonight, so I'll catch you lovely ladies in the replay. Good night, and hope you have a good stream. Thank you so much, Mr. Wolverine 007. Speaking of the ladies, let's take a round of the round here, and however you want to say it, and go around and introduce everybody. Since she's right next to me here, Miss, introduce yourself to the lovely folks out there.
Hi, I'm Miss Sarcastic Nerd, but everyone can call me Miss. I'm kind of a pain in the ass, and I'm happy to be here.
But we enjoy it. All right. Right below her, the mistress of mayhem herself, Mary. Why don't you introduce yourself to the folks?
Well, hi guys. I am Mary B. I am the mistress of mayhem, disruptor of the narrative, and official whamming card holder. You can find me over on my channel, Mary Mayhem, where I talk about newsy new stuff during the week and have a little fun on the weekends. So.
You must have a bunch of those on your floor.
No, I just have one. I just keep chucking it.
Just ruin the joke. Just ruin the joke.
That's what I think about the whamming card. So yeah.
You should. Yeah, I got a pile of them here. I should probably pick them up and read them. That's what you should have said. Miss Mary of Shenanigans don't know how to improv. No, I'm just kidding.
I think by this point.
I'm giving you crap. Geeky Candy. Tell the folks about yourself. I can't see you. Where'd you go?
You can't see me?
You're camouflaged.
Oh,
yes. Well, yes, I am in the fighting spirit tonight, you guys. Yes, I am feeling about as toxic as a male offering to open the door for me. I am not about that, and I cannot wait to tell you more about how I feel about it. Yeah, I'm Candace, aka Geeky Candy. What about it? Yeah, come check out my channel sometime. I lots of Mandalorian stuff right now in gameplay. So
she dares you.
When I put the camo on, I just turned into a completely different person. But you already knew that, Tom, didn't you?
That's not supposed to be out in public. No. That's on. If you want to know what we're talking about, you need to go check out Mary's Patreon on Shenanigans, correct?
Yes. So the wonderful thing about Patreon, and Patreon's a wonderful thing, is that you can still see Shenanigans if you're a patron of mine for the $5 tier or up every week, even after it goes down. So I do private the video after Shenanigans, but it does stay up for my wonderful exclusive patrons. So I appreciate that.
Awesome.
The wonderful thing about Patreon is Patreon's a wonderful thing.
Tom's muted a brothers. Don't get me going. Don't get me going, Tom.
And I'm the only one. Orville Nation, another $2. Yay, Toxic Femme Night. Yes, it is. It is indeed. So we've got a lot of Star Wars stuff to talk about. Isn't that right, ladies?
So much Star Wars stuff.
Multiple platforms of it tonight.
If Mary wants to take us through the order of business.
The order of business. So yes, we have plenty of Star Wars stuff to talk about tonight, and mix a little Disney in there. Although these days they go hand in hand. We'll start off tonight with a little Mandalorian discussion. That may be a doozy for you guys. We don't all line up on our opinions, and that is the wonderful thing about opinions, is we can all have them, and we can do so respectfully and disagree and do so in a wonderful and respectful way. So yes, we'll start off with the Mandalorian, then we'll move into a little Fallen Order. Miss Geeky Candy knows all about all that Fallen Order stuff. She's got a great presentation for you guys on that tonight, and then we'll kind of end everything off with the news surrounding Disney Plus and what's going down with all that over there. So I hope you guys stick around. It's going to be a great show. So, and I'm ready to duke it out.
You're ready to duke it out? That's right. Well, then.
Oh my god, guys, it's going down. So, The Mandalorian, 2 episodes have dropped for us, and so far the reception has been pretty good from just about everybody. Most people seem to be enjoying it, though there has been a little pushback here and there. I might be on the side of the pushback, but we'll get into that in a moment. So we've got 2 episodes that have dropped. The first one that dropped was on Monday. Am I correct? Am I remembering that correctly? Was it Monday that it dropped?
Yeah, it was Monday.
About like 40 roughly minutes long. And then we got our second episode on Friday. Both of them dropping at really bizarre times of the morning. We expected to get like around a 9 a.m. release or so, which in and of itself would have still been really off of a primetime release. But we wound up getting essentially like, what was it, like a 1 or 2 in the morning time frame release. So that was Pacific time. Mine was at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, not feeling these random like morning releases yet. I'm really hoping they kind of streamline in the future the like a regular release time since these aren't like binge total series at once. I get that, dropping them at midnight, whatever. But this is still like episodic, so it'd be nice to have some,
It kind of felt like there was a race to watch them. I don't know if it was the time they set it up, but we were all just like waiting, like who's going to watch it first, kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Well, as I understand it, people who had Verizon were able to see it first, right?
Well, I didn't have Verizon, but I still saw the first one. It was at 11 o'clock my time, Sunday night, Mountain Time. So I was well ahead of the curve there. And when I had done the install for the Disney Plus app on my Android, it had showed there already had been 500,000 downloads available. So it was very strange. That whole release was very irregular.
Yeah, it was really bizarre. So I guess we'll kind of start off with going down the pipe here and allow everybody to kind of give you their first sort of impressions / ratings of The Mandalorian thus far. And keep in mind, this is a thus far thing, as this is not a series that's completely dropped for us yet. We don't have a Netflix situation here where you get an entire season dumped on you at once. We're not binging this. This is one episode at a time. Weird times that it's getting dropped, and they can't seem to nail down a day. Although I think it's just Fridays from here on out. But yeah, weird timings that it's dropping. So we'll start off with Miss Sarcastic Nerd. What are your first impressions so far of this series?
Am I talking on both episodes at once, or
yeah, just an overall thus far?
Overall, I feel like they've only given us like slight introductions into the show. They haven't really given us very much. It's mostly been very pretty scenes tied together with very little information about the character itself. It's not bad. I want to say that it's not horribly bad. I'm not angry. I was briefly angry. There was a brief like immediate anger. Then it's like it's just the first 2 episodes of an entire season, so we haven't gotten everything yet. I feel like they should have given us more, definitely. The Yoda thing does bother me quite a bit. The Baby Yoda thing does bother me. Some of the stuff about like the Jawas, just the whole universe thing that they're trying to do is very. They need to be a bit more concise, but they're not. I'm prepared for it to get better and worse. Like, I want it to be better, but I'm prepared for it to get worse than it is. But right now, it's pretty average with me.
So landing right squarely in the middle, as a lot of people are doing right now that I've seen. A lot of people are like, it's not bad, it's not good, it's not the series we need, right? Like, so it's I've heard a lot of that going around personally, and I'll go ahead and I guess give my take on it. So for me, I overall, if you'd asked me this on Wednesday, I would have told you I was like a 7.5. I was having a good time. I was really digging it up till episode 2 popped, and then I was like, I have some serious issues with some of the stuff that went down, and I'll delve further into that. But after that dropped, it went from like a 7.5 to like a 6 for me. Not that I don't enjoy what I've been seeing so far. The first episode, I really dug. I really did dig it. I felt like the cinematography was great. There were lots of Easter eggs, wonderful Easter eggs, absolutely everywhere. You can tell there's a lot of love and passion and just straight up zeal that goes into what it is that we're watching here. But and I know that some people kind of gave some crap about the musical score, but I thought that it was fine personally, and I had a really good time. I felt like there was great character development going on in the first episode, and then we got to the second episode, and I felt like everything sort of halted, and we went on this sort of side quest, and it felt very video game to me. Like, oh, okay, we're going on a side quest over here to go let Baby Yoda figure out what he's doing, and I did not feel like the stuff that the choices that they made with Baby Yoda were good in terms of canon and the overall health of Star Wars as a galaxy, as you know, we're working within this universe. So I do have some serious issues with it. So I'm sitting at like a 6 out of 10. Miss Candace.
Yeah, so I am the originals lover that Jon Favreau has pretty much marketed this entire thing to. I'm the one that doesn't know a whole lot about the EU besides the movies, the shows, and the video games. I am reading a little bit about it. And so my criticisms are mostly from a production standpoint, and a comparison to what we've had before to what we have now. And I am pleasantly surprised, and I feel like this is a great foundation for a live action series with Star Wars in the future. I think there's a lot of potential, and there was a lot more they could have gotten wrong than get right from this point up to this point. And overall, the consensus seems to be that they've gotten more right than wrong, and I'll take that. A lot of people about the episode lengths are saying they wish they were longer, which is what's a worse problem to have? People wishing that they could bow out early, or people who want more. So, I get both arguments on that. I understand. I enjoy that they are bringing us a new story. They're not giving us Boba 2.0. They're giving us a new story, and they're bringing in a lot of characters that were pop culture favorites from the originals. So we've got the Jawas, we've got droids that were really popular, like the little walking garbage can walking into the client's den, if you will. We've got those were so fun. The Donalds or whatever, the Gonks, sometimes they get called. A lot of references to Jabba in that first chapter, and I enjoyed that. Even the gatekeeper droid, very similar, not the same, but very similar. And I like the callbacks. I like the Easter eggs. It gives me my nostalgia, but because of the great world building, at least in the first chapter, I also got a lot of wonder going through the alleys of the marketplace, seeing the diversity of aliens there and all these new creatures, and then seeing our old ones popping in that we enjoyed, spotting a Rodian and a Trandoshan right off the bat. In the cantina. It's fun seeing these characters or one similar to it again. And in terms of pacing, the first chapter, we start with a huge pilot, meaning multi-planet, tons of characters, lots of world building. And then the second chapter, only 3 days difference, mind you. They smashed these two right next to each other. You got a new director, different music styling, same composer, but nonetheless, and we're narrowly focused in on just 3 of our characters and in a very small particular part of one world. So there's a lot of people out there that are like, I hate the first, love the second. I love the second, hated the whatever, back and forth. And, one thing's for certain, the show generates a lot of controversy within the fandom. And I do like that. It allows for discussion about what it is that we are looking for moving forward with both live action and movies. And considering the budget they're putting into this, I'm very interested to see how this moves forward with other Star Wars productions in the works, like the future trilogy movie, as well as the Obi-Wan series and Clone Wars coming up.
Well, I will agree with you that there's definitely a lot of love and passion put into this. There's no doubt about that. I do take issue with, and I know it's going to come, guys, I know you're in the chat. Bear with me, okay? Bear with me. I'm not hating on The Mandalorian, but I do have concerns, and they are, I think, legitimate and valid concerns. Baby Yoda is potentially a problem. So I was doing a little digging of my own earlier, looking over on Wikipedia, right? So that's your source if you're worried about like whether or not something is canon or not. Baby Yoda is in fact a baby. He is described as an infant. Thus far with the series is defined as at least 50 years old. So they are an infant up until at least 50 years old. And so we are dealing with an infant here. I'm not really sure. I've heard some different arguments about how we can get around this infant doing the things that we see him do. And spoiler alert for those of you in the chat who have not seen The Mandalorian, this is your opportunity to turn around and head away now and come back, I suppose, after the discussion. But I assume if you're here looking at the topics, you understand what you're going to be seeing. Hi, Peanut Gallery. What's up?
I read that Yoda was only 100 years old when he became a Jedi Master. That is all. I have spoken.
Yes.
I have spoken.
I understand that maybe it's something you've read, but at this point in time, We have to deal with what they're telling us canonically. So we're dealing with what it is that they have set. They've set this precedent. Everything in the expanded universe, much as I admire it, much as I enjoy it, much as I believe that it should be canon, it's not. And Disney set that ground rule, not us. So they set these rules and we get to abide by those. 50 years old is an infant. We are dealing with a child here, an infant, a little toddler waddling around eating live lizards like a toddler.
Baby Yoda is cute.
I'm not saying he's not
I
cute.
have spoken.
He is adorable, but why is he able to do this? Why is this infant with no training in the Force able to do
That you know of?
Is an infant. I can't get an infant to not crap its pants, Tom.
Yoda infants are different.
Tom, get out of here, you damn male.
Yoda infants that we know of are not any different. We're talking about an infant. Why are we using the term infant if there's a different description, if there's a different definition?
It is strange. But the thing I can agree with, that I can get on with, is we do not know a lot about Yoda's species, how they work, but what being an infant means for his species specifically. There's not a lot we know. There is an argument to be made that Lucas wanted Yoda's species and him as a person completely a mystery. He didn't want that touched on at all, which I would love to respect. Absolutely. The lack of respect there is kind of an issue, but there are some people who, as much as the mystery is wanted, kind of want to know and kind of want that expanded on, but that should have been for Lucas to expand on. So I don't know. They say he was there for it during that, so maybe he's the one who sort of touched on, okay, this is how him as an infant would work. That would be interesting to find out that Lucas was actually behind it. They're not really saying anything about it.
Explaining to do is what
I expect there to be some. They've done a lot of interviews lately with the producers, and there's been a lot of talk about his closeness, not only to the producers but also with the directors. Some of the directors are like family friends to George Lucas, including Bryce Dallas Howard or Dallas Bryce Howard. I always forget the first two names. I get them switched up. I don't know why, but nonetheless, yeah, it's. I feel like Jon Favreau, based on previous things he's done and things like that, I feel like that's not quite the level of backstabbery I'd expect from him. I would expect that perhaps this is a moment, first time live television series. Seems like a great opportunity for George to drop a bombshell like this one. And the other thing regarding it being a baby or not, my issue is, again, I'm coming from this from an originals lover here. I am not once totally soaked up in the EU, but I did look at some of the canon behind Yoda, and Yoda has no master listed in canon. And because of that, I feel like at some point we have to allow for possibilities. There has to be possibilities for building. Let me just finish my point. I'm so sorry. Just let me finish one thing and then go take it away with a rebuttal. But there has to be some allowance for canon building at some point. This is going to be an investment by Disney for 40 plus years. They're going to have abilities to build on things. So with no Jedi Master listed in, that trained Yoda supposedly in canon, well, I feel like that's an opening that they can certainly take and build on. And it feels like a fun opportunity if it's done right.
Let me ask you a question. Do you really want the precedent set that you can use the Force with absolutely no one to teach you and train you and show you how to do these? Is that the precedent that we want set, that the Force is now something that can do whatever you want with no training, no hard work, no effort? Because quick and easy is the way of the dark side, right?
Yeah.
But it takes a long time to train just because Yoda doesn't have a listed master does not mean that he didn't have a master. Why should he be any different than every instance of Jedi that we've ever seen?
He is different from any other instance of Jedi because he's a species without any information behind him. So that in and of itself allows for a possible innate ability with Force sensitivity.
Go ahead,
for me.
It's despite the baby is 50 years old. So there isn't no chance that this baby has a master. There is an issue that a baby being taught the Force powers is like, whoa. But I think about that scene back when he sees the Mandalorian is hurt and puts his hand up, and what is he trying to do? Does he even know what he's trying to do? He's a baby. He just knows.
Yoda's
He
quoted as
obviously
saying,
knows what he's trying to
He
do.
knows he can do
defense and knowledge are the
He
two
has-
priorities Yoda uses with the Force. So if we're equating him to the species that Yoda hails from, then defense would be the one thing that they would push forward first.
A
So
lot
I
of
don't know.
extrapolations with no information, though. This is a big leap that you're making here with no information to do it on.
Well, and that's the problem on both ends is we don't. And how do we know if the baby Yoda can't talk yet? Remember,
We don't.
Yoda,
We don't know.
Yoda was mischievous,
So that's why I say
so
as,
he might.
right now, though.
The baby might be pretending it can't talk.
as it, yeah. Well, it did describe it's being described on Wikipedia as an infant. Their words, not mine. Okay. So as it's described as an infant, we have no different understanding of an infant than what we already have. So based on the knowledge that we have thus far of every infant we've ever seen, the sheer description of an infant means a child who is not capable of handling or protecting or taking care of themselves on their own. That's why you need someone like the Mandalorian to guard and protect it, right? So we don't have a different definition of an infant. So right now we're working off of just what we know, just the information we know. Based off of the information we have, this doesn't work. They have a lot of explaining to do about a baby Yoda in a show about a Mandalorian.
Okay, well, we have a few things to point to possibilities, and I will say this. In the beginning, what's-his-face's character, the director, Werner Herzog.
Which one?
Werner Herzog, the guy who hired the Mandalorian.
Werner Herzog, yes.
His people have connections to the cloning facilities or whatever.
Yeah, Dr. Pershing's wearing the Camino emblem on his jacket. So that was one of my theories about this. I was going to mention it in a little bit.
This might open the door that they were making clones of Jedis. And if I remember correctly from the Clone Wars, they can pass on certain genes and other things onto the clone offspring and alter them.
Yes.
So it's a very big possibility that this is a clone of Yoda.
Yeah, there you go.
And it already has.
It would already have a
it's
native
already
trained ability.
at full power. It may not understand how to use all its powers yet, but it has them.
It's a theory.
And it's also could be a female opening up the door that all these rumors that we've heard for the last two movies that Rey was actually either a clone of Anakin or Palpatine.
Yeah. I'll be so
even more
pissed.
possible.
Sure.
Because if you remember from Jurassic Park, all embryos are inherently female until you
the Goldblum connection here. He is
until you interject a certain hormone, which is technically correct. So it could be under the realm of possibility. All those things are true. Plus, this is a girl Yoda. And we'll come back to this. There's a very important point that's coming up that I want to bring up before we get done with this discussion.
I just wanted to
So
say,
go ahead, and I'm gonna say you guys talk about that part now, and I'm gonna go back here.
in the show, they give Yoda generic child laughter sound effects. Yoda, baby Yoda. Like, he sounds like a baby. He has the laughter of a baby, so he's a baby. I mean,
based on everything we know so far, yes, it appears to be
he's a baby. He clearly cannot take care of himself,
right?
Or she. We don't know. It clearly
We haven't had to see the Mandalorian change any diapers, though. I must say this. That is all.
Yeah. Do we really want to?
Yeah,
That's
we
my
want to.
question.
And
Jedi.
Wikipedia says it's an infant.
Yeah.
So
So
I have no problem with it being an infant. It still doesn't change my opinion about the possible innateness of their abilities.
My big concern, so I do have a question for you, Candace, is if it winds up that this winds up just being force powers that baby Yodas can wield with no training, you are completely good with the door that opens for the Star Wars universe to now just have extremely strong force users running around out there who never require any training, despite the fact that Anakin Skywalker, who had a midichlorian count of even greater than Master Yoda's, couldn't do those things.
So when you say people running around like crazy, I have a problem with that.
Okay,
now,
well, I
we're talking
understand
about the
that
Yoda
there's not a lot of
species.
difference. So let me
Yoda
just
species is
clarify what I'm
rare. This
me
is the only one we know of. So
I
for
hear you.
that instance, I'd be okay with it.
Okay, so we're talking about
I forgot the other possibility.
Let us have it.
The other possibility is Baby Yoda was made by the Force. Like,
Okay, get out of here,
actually
Tom.
conceived by the Force.
Get out, Tom.
No, this is important. It has to do with Baby Yoda. And I want to bring this point up too. We keep calling it Baby Yoda, and you say
we know
infant
it's not
because
Yoda.
that's what Wikipedia says or whatever. But when you think about how his species ages, he's 900 years old when he dies. Okay, now if we break that down in like dog years in quotation,
I've done this.
that would be like basically 10 years per year per human. So at 50 years old, Yoda would be 5 years old, equivalent.
I think the 50 is a really random force number too, because if you objectively look at it like that, yeah, it doesn't make sense. But if you also look at who else was born 50 years ago, it would also be Anakin Skywalker to the year. So I find it interesting to that connection being the exact same birth year as our supposed chosen one. So it makes me curious about where this plot will lead, and if Anakin will make some kind of if it's going to make some kind of play about him in it in the future.
So allow me to just kind of clarify here. Look, if it winds up that this isn't a Baby Yoda, that we've been misled, I'm working off of the information that we have now, right? I'm not speculating. I'm not going forward. I'm not assuming anything that's coming. I'm not assuming anything that's coming because I can't do that, because in terms of information that we have about the Yoda species,
and you're objective, and that's what I love about you.
And I adore your activism, and I think it's wonderful. But I'm sitting here with just what I have so far, right? Because the last time I speculated on something that Star Wars gave me, my heart was broken. So I'm very careful and I'm very tentative. Look, I don't hate this show. I'm just being very careful as it stands with just the information that we have. If indeed it is true that this is just an infant, as it has been depicted to us thus far, and I think we can all agree it's been depicted to us as an infant, right? Then I have serious problems with what we know so far about the Force, this infant doing what it is that we've done. So they have a lot of explaining to do, Lucy.
Well, they did give us all ample warning when they told us that there'd be some major issue in the first episode. So we had moments for preparation, I suppose.
They have a lot of explaining. Go ahead.
I'm hoping they're not going to use this to explain Rey.
That's my big concern. Yeah. The big concerns are that you open up a door here to sort of use the Force moving forward as this ex machina, and I don't want it reduced to that. I'm really, really, very genuinely concerned that they're going to take this opportunity in a show about the Mandalorian that is supposed to be about a Mandalorian, that they're going to start delving into this other stuff that has nothing to do with the Mandalorian. So now you have a split plot, right? Now you have something else that you're going off into the weeds on, when all I wanted to know was about this Mandalorian with his struggle, right? That's where I wanted the focus to be. But now you're worried about making greater excursions into the Force in a show about a Mandalorian where he doesn't even use the Force, right?
But Yoda's species is not the same as human, so I don't believe that comparison is really true in that respect. I feel like it's apples and oranges comparing the human race's abilities with the Force versus Yoda. We don't know this.
Here's the problem with that. So we're talking about a baseline that we have to discuss when it comes to midichlorians. Midichlorians are used across all species to gauge their Force potential.
See, this is where I want to understand everything, but I'm not from the EU, and so I'm like,
this is not EU.
It's tough for me.
Not EU. This is not EU. This is canon. Solely what we discuss in the movies. We are not talking about anything outside of what it is that you see presented to you within the main.
Is this from the last two movies that we've seen?
No. This is from prequels. So Anakin Skywalker has a midichlorian count greater even than that of Master Yoda, which means his Force potential is greater than that we would ever have seen from Master Yoda. Nevertheless, as a 9-year-old, he had opportunities to show us his Force abilities, which he never manifested in ways outside of passive abilities, such as in pod racing. So there's a moment in the pod racing where he flips, right? And he starts doing little circles and he's spinning out and he can't get control. So he has to reach out after he gets it stabilized, because he's got this cable flapping in the side. He has to use a bar, reach out, magnetize it, pull it in, right? Now, you can say that he used a passive ability of the Force there to kind of get a grip on the handle of the situation, but he never used a Force ability to pull that back together. He never used a physical attempt on the Force, right? And this is Anakin Skywalker, whose midichlorians are a baseline for force potential.
Yeah, I understand your point. It makes sense. Do all the human Jedi have the same midichlorian count?
No.
They don't. So do all Yoda species, would they all have the same midichlorian count?
Midichlorians are a baseline across all species. It is the potential of the force within you. Period. It's the baseline across all species. It has nothing to do with what race you are. It has only to do with how much of the force you have within you. That's it.
Okay, but it varies between human and human, right? You're saying that if one has more than the other, then ideally we would also say that Anakin may have more than Luke.
It varies between everyone. And
that was what happened when he
Yoda
pricked his finger. Is he said that he had bunches of midi-chlorians in him, so he had tons of cooties.
Yes, he had lots of cooties. So Anakin has a higher force count, or has a higher midichlorian count than Yoda. And you can hate midichlorians. I certainly don't appreciate it being nailed down to some scientific ability to measure stuff. I don't think that was a good idea either, but it's what we have and it's where we work. So the force, the baseline across all races, across all species, this is what we have to work with. And he has one even greater than Master Yoda, and that's why it was so astounding.
We don't know about the baby Yoda yet either, though, do we?
We don't know, but so are we doing another Chosen One story and a story about
same year, birth year? I don't know. It sounds very interesting to have the comparison of the two birthdays. So I don't know.
A story about the Mandalorian.
Well, the Mandalorian is going to be a character arc, I think, that's going to develop throughout the entire series. I think it's going to develop around his identity, because when he approaches the armorer in the first chapter, he's asked, do you know your signet yet? He says he doesn't. I'm not 100% sure that he is a true Mandalorian at this point. He could be orphaned, and finding his identity throughout the series, finding out who he is and what his capabilities are through the protection of this baby Yoda. And I think that's what we're going to see in the next few episodes, especially as more bounty hunters approach him and try to take him out.
Yeah, I hope so. I really do. That's what I would like to see in this. And look, I will state, I don't have any problems with them finding some way to make this work. I hope that they do.
Oh, me too. I'm banking on it a lot. I'm hoping to. I don't want to get squashed emotionally. I'm approaching this from, like I said, purely originalist idealism here, and the fact that I know a lot about the production value that went into this, and it was very, very. It was pretty top notch for me. So I enjoy that. And so I appreciate it. And I do know a lot of spoilers. If anyone sees my channel, I knew about Yoda back in October. I have spoilers like crazy all over my channel. Check it out if you're interested in it. But and so I kind of knew this was coming. I didn't know it was going to be in the form of a cute, cuddly little baby, but I'm not mad about that.
Right. No, I'm not. Oh, and guys, seriously, you should definitely go check out Candace's stuff, because this girl has done her research. She knows what's going on in this series.
About this series, not so much about EU canon and legacy. But I just finished the Thrawn series, and I'm trying my best. And what is applicable about that? Joris Sabayoth in it was a clone Jedi with powers. So it's an interesting connection there too. But I think that's not canon. That would be legacy, right?
Yes, legacy.
Okay, yeah. So I know a little bit.
Absolutely. And look, I don't claim to be an EU aficionado either. I'm also like Candace. I'm just sort of diving into that world. But I have spent a lifetime picking apart the Star Wars movies and the Clone Wars as well. So in terms of canon, canonically speaking, I do know what the hell I'm talking about. So yes, I can absolutely get into this debate with you. And you know what? Candace really does know what she's talking about as well. She's spent a lot of time loving these movies as well, and certainly diving deep into this Mandalorian stuff. So I give her full credit. She loves it, and I do hope it turns out well. Fingers crossed this ends well. I just have issues where we stand. So we won't know until we get funded.
So, Tom, did you want to say something, man?
Well, I was just going to say, we've been talking about this for a little bit. There's a few more points I want to get to this, so I think you should say what you're going to say, and then we should probably just give an overall impression of the first two episodes, and then we'll move in to the super chats, because our last super chat actually covers the next question I wanted to present to you guys, so it worked out perfectly. So go ahead and finish your thought real quick, miss.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, what I'm worried about basically is, I think we've covered this, but I'm just going to put it in my own words. Baby Yoda being a clone of Yoda is the spoiler for Rise of Skywalker, and I'm worried that means in the sense that Rey is a clone, and because she's a clone, she can adopt the powers of the person that she was cloned of, and so that's why that she's all powerful as she is. And that can either be a really dumb thing or possibly a smart thing. But the thing is just the way that they're doing it and how long it's taken them to do it, to fix
awful.
these films, to separate it into this show by doing that. Maybe they won't do that. Maybe Baby Yoda's going to fly down into the Rise of Skywalker and save the day. Who knows? Maybe that's the kicker. But I'm worried that this is their explanation for how she works, that she's a clone and she's adopted the powers of the person that cloned her. And I also wanted to talk about the show outside of Baby Yoda, but if you wanted to move on.
Oh, no, if you want, I got a few points you want to make, go ahead and make them now, because then the next question is a little bit more general about the show.
So for me, for the episode, I've been comparing it when I talk to people to the episode Out of Gas from Firefly. In that episode, Firefly breaks down and Mal has to fix it. And I think it's longer than this episode. So I think it's like an hour long. So it's really hard to compare the two in that way. But the ship breaks down and you learn so much about the characters throughout the episode and about Mal. And it's just the way that they did it, where the focus was really on the ship itself and how much it meant to Mal. The way that they did it was really, really a lot of depth to it and a lot of interesting writing. And it wasn't just glamour shots of outside of the ship while he tried to fix it. That's where I'm with it. It's just there's a ton of glamour shots and then they fix the ship. And I didn't feel like we learned anything about the Mandalorian in that episode. Maybe I'm taking it too seriously. It is a kid's show. So, but I personally wanted there to be a bit more depth in the writing where we learned a bit more about the character. And that's just my issue with it mostly. That's why I give it a 5, because there wasn't enough substance to it for me. It was very much picture, fix the ship, done.
I didn't give my scores. 8 on both episodes for me. Lots of opportunity for improvement still, but overall I felt good about it moving forward.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for sure. Provided they walk the tightrope they've laid out for themselves. And I think Candace has got a really great sense of optimism. I'm really proud to see.
Always.
I'm really proud.
It's a tenet of my nature.
I'm really proud to see that there's still a lot of goodwill out there for Star Wars. And that's the mark of a genuine fan, right? Someone who's not willing to just walk away when things get hard. And so I can definitely appreciate that.
I haven't walked away since, even despite the obvious, I wasn't a huge fan of the prequels. Now, reflecting hindsight 2020, there's a lot more I like from it than it was. Just at the age that I was, it wasn't something that appealed to me. The originals did. And so it felt too childlike at that sense. And I didn't get behind the CGI very much of it. So I felt very defeated. And I felt like, honestly, that Star Wars was pretty much over then. And, after the years, I started to enjoy, I enjoyed the plot lines. I enjoyed Anakin's arc. I loved getting to see Darth Maul. Ray Parks hit it out of the park with his characterization of Darth Maul. His lightsaber action was I wish he'd be the one training everybody on set. I think even Ewan McGregor could learn something from him. So anyway, I went off on a tangent, but what I'm trying to say is, things are happening with this franchise. They're going to happen until the day I die, because Disney's keeping this one forever. And I'm in a place on that 7 stages of grief about it all, where I'm in acceptance and hope. And I just feel like I have a renewed optimism from what I've seen so far with the first two episodes. I do not forgive and I do not forget. I hate Rian Johnson, and I hate the fact that Disney will never be on board with me 100% until they give him the boot and Kathleen swiftly right after him. So there's my rant for that. I am pissed about some things, but not the Mandalorian yet.
I just want to say that this conversation has made me actually a little bit excited for episode 3 to see what they do with it. Just a little bit. I'm a little bit more optimistic than I was coming into this conversation.
Oh yeah. Look, there's a lot they could do with it. There's definitely a lot they could do with it. My question is, what will they do with it? I will, of course, wait with bated breath to see what that is. And I know, Tom, you had some super chats you wanted to get through.
Yeah, I thought we'd catch up on a few here, because one of the last ones we got actually touches on the question I wanted to present to you ladies. Okay. Nova Zero sent us one way at the beginning, says, with $5, thank you so much. Disney Plus accounts are already being sold online. If you have one, practice good cybersecurity. That's always a good thing to do anyway. But yes, a good reminder from Nova Zero. Thank you. Orville Nation. Oh, we got that one already. He said $2. Yay, Toxic Femme, but we already covered that, but we'll cover it again. $2 Canadian from, I don't think we got the name on this one. But I did actually answer it in the chat, but we'll answer again. Hi, please do a video on SJW's having Elitist Shadow Band. I'll present that to Andre and see what he says. We got a lot of stuff, but you never know. If not, maybe one of the ladies here can take that up. Let's see here. We've got another one from Orville Nation. There are potential concerns. I think he's talking about the show itself. Then we got Christopher Richett with a Canadian $5. As much as some of you disagree, what if Yoda's race are in fact one of the wills of Star Wars? Now, I know you know what the wills are, Mary.
Yes, that would be very interesting. So look, the wills are essentially the Force, right? And so originally George Lucas had planned on that being sort of the route that they took. Everything got condensed and he took it down into where they're sort of just used sporadically throughout the notes. We think we got a bit of wills action going on in the Clone Wars. It's interesting. It's an interesting thing that they could in fact traverse. And I would be very down to see something like Yoda's being a physical representation of the wills. That is one of the few ways I think that they could sidestep this potential issue here, because I would not have a problem with an introduction of the wills. I think that would be very interesting, and I would love to see the potential introductions. But like I said, George Lucas has always been very, like Miss said, George Lucas has always been very tight-lipped about the Yoda stuff. And so we just can't know. It will be interesting. I would love to see a Will's route taken. I could definitely get into that lore. That being said, I'm not sure I want to see it take place in The Mandalorian. I logged in to see a show about a Mandalorian. So I love the Wills. I love that potential route. We'll see. We'll have to see what happens. It's very interesting. So.
All right. Anybody else have anything to say to that, Mary or Miss? Or I mean, Candy or Miss?
I don't know too much about the wills, so I can't comment on that. After this, I'm definitely going to look into that more because I haven't really gotten that theory. I haven't been searching around for theories really. So I'm kind of just coming to them after watching it a few times and talking with people on my live streams about it. And that just hasn't come up yet. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I just don't have enough to comment about that. But that being said, I do want to say one thing just overall regarding the series, and it's that I feel like the pacing. A lot of people disagreed with the fact that there's no dialogue in the first half of the second chapter, and there's then there's dialogue, sparse dialogue, but still dialogue in the second half. I feel like the visuals carry this series so well. The CGI when it's used is done well, and the choice to have animatronic puppets harkening back to the our originals era is also what Quill is very well done. The Ugnaught that is at his side, okay, his mouth doesn't move with how he talks, but do I care? No, because I think he's a fantastic looking character and he gives me all the nostalgia that I love from the originals. And for those who don't know, Quill is an Ugnaught. Ugnaughts were from Bespin during the carbonite freezing production they had there when they were doing it to Han, the first live carbonite freeze, at that time. So it seems very apropos to have a friend that would be a part of that kind of operation. And so, yeah, I feel like there's a lot of smart writing, and I know this is to people who are against the show or do not like the show. I come from a literary background. I used to teach English, and I used to actually do a lot of I used to analyze plot lines for books. And so this was kind of, this is up my alley. So I'm coming at it from that perspective. Now, whether or not it falls in line with everything Star Wars, that's for others to decide. For me, I'm coming at it from originals love. So, I see a lot there. I appreciate a lot of foreshadowing. He walks into the cave. The cave, as he walks in, it looks like he looks like an eyeball as he's walking in the cave. And then 2 minutes later, what does he see? A big eyeball on the Space Rhino. Foreshadowing. It's fun. They do have a lot of that stuff in there. And now they also have a lot of low-key comedy straight out of Star Wars from how we used to know it. So I enjoy that too.
I would say it's very well crafted, Candace, with one exception, the blurg. Where did the blurg go? But other than that, it's incredibly well crafted, and you can tell there's a lot of love and zeal in it. I would tell
the knife, the world's smallest knife, definitely below average. Yeah.
Below average knife.
Yeah, we need to hashtag that. What the hell, below average knife?
Yeah, I don't know how he killed that thing with that, but anyway, it looked like Miss wanted to say something too.
Sorry, Miss.
Oh, I did. I wanted to say something someone else said in the chat, but it's very far away now. It's okay.
Oh, okay. Well, you should have saved it. Remember?
I will say, Candace, for the will stuff, like just like offhand, go to Clone Wars. Like I think it's like 6. It's like right there at the end, right? All of the stuff with Yoda and the wills. It's fantastic. So much fun, and I would highly recommend it to you.
Okay,
I will do that. Season 6, I believe it is. Go to it.
I will do that because I want to make sure I include that in my next whatever I do with my
We're giving her fodder, guys. We're giving her cannon fodder over there. Or, wait, we're giving her candy fodder over there.
Candy fodder. Hey, I like that.
Yeah, that's cute.
Tom. Yeah, that's cute.
I like things like that. Mary knows that. I like punny names.
I love them too.
How I quote unquote came up with toxic femininity. I know I didn't make it up.
I love literary devices that make anybody laugh.
Yeah, it wasn't a common nomenclature or whatever. And speaking of the Clone Wars, we do have a super chat that comes to the Clone Wars here real quick. But we're going to do this one first. Matt G, $2. Don't forget, E.T. recognized Yoda in a mask in the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
He
had the right amount of He had the right amount of fingers too, though. But that's good, right?
Home is what he's actually saying is home. Yeah, there's always this little jab back and forth that Steven Spielberg and Lucas have sticking things in each other's movies.
God, those are the days.
Especially Spielberg, because he loved Star Wars. All right, not to mention he made about $40 million off it. If you want to know what that's all about, check out my video about the bet that he lost with Steven Spielberg over Star Wars. Shameless plug. Rich A, Australian $5. So Rich gave us Australian $5, not Rich A. Watch the Clone Wars episode Children of the Force. They were trying to clone Jedi for spying, as there are a few or one left, probably different reason.
I wrote that down. Thank you. I will look at that.
So there you go. That might explain some of this. You never know. It may tie into this. And since Filoni is a big part of this, that's another reason why I think that it's a possibility.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see one of his biggest written characters that he's ever done make an appearance in this some way, somehow. And, I knew looking at the trailers and seeing those super battle droids that Clone Wars is going to be a big part of this somehow, some way. And it was, I feel like I need to rewatch them all, but God, who has the time? But I really want to. So I appreciate people pinpointing on certain ones specifically, because I do think there is quite a point of convergence here with those flashbacks. I mean, if we're talking about the Siege of Mandalore, there was a Jedi present at Mandalore during the Siege of Mandalore. It was Obi-Wan. How funny is that? Obi-Wan was there, and that's also where we've got our next series taking place with his storyline. I find it interesting that would be something that perhaps he might have a cameo in as well.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Indeed.
James.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I know you had more super chats.
Yeah, James, interestingly enough, sent us $2. What if Yoda and Yaddle had a child?
Yeah.
Chicka, wow, wow.
Dude, I heard that floating around a little bit. I don't know that, like, he was really old. I
think it'd be a hilarious storyline to run with, and it would just prove that they're not taking this so terribly seriously that they're willing to give us something like that to move forward. To just be like, okay, guys, y'all are all wrong. They just got it on. They just got it on. He was 850 years old, but the virality of sperm for Yoda is fine at 850, apparently. So,
well, I know the guy can at any point, but Yaddle at that, I don't know.
She looks pretty young, though, if you look at the pictures.
Yeah, she died at about 500. We don't know. I don't think it was of natural causes. I believe it was in Order 66 that she died. So there might have been plenty of time left on her clock. We're not quite sure. So it's a possibility because, guys, what we know.
Plenty of time there was, indeed.
Yeah, it's wait. What is this famous one that he says? Do or do not. There is no try.
There was no try.
I would say he probably was successful if that was the case.
We did and did and did.
That's too funny. But we don't even know anything about Yodas or the Yoda species or how they procreate or anything. And if it is, in fact, if they are in fact born of the Force, that's interesting as well. So we'll see.
Long and loud.
I have spoilers on my channel that have been proved right so far, and there are some things that I don't want to say here, but I think we'll get some answers within the next 2 chapters on that particular question.
And then Rich A also brought. Oh, it was Rich A. I thought that was Australian $2. My bad. It's the same thing. It looks the same. He also brought up here, Children of the Force equals Baby Yoda. Why they want it? That's what I was thinking too. Yep. Matt G also sends us another $2. When can Yoda species collect Social Security? When they're 600. When they're 640, they can start collecting.
Is it a galactic Social Security or is it a planetary? I'm curious how they.
I have a hell of a pension from the Jedis.
Yeah, there you go.
Everyone gets how Yoda talks wrong.
Yeah, he talks backwards.
They just have thus far everything we've seen of Yoda.
No, he's just sitting there thinking,
Funny you all talk.
They all have a penchant for doing that so far that we've seen. So and it's kind of cute. And look, Baby Yoda's adorable. I hope he talks all backwards and everything right from the get go. If we get to
best thing is they're all going to be sitting there, and all of a sudden you're going to hear, eat food.
Eat it, not a lizard.
Good food, yes.
What is that? That sounds like Gollum.
Yeah, you
Kind
sound like
of.
I was gonna say you're doing Gollum.
So,
It works. It works.
yes. All right, here's the question that I was getting to, because this is something I was going to pose to you ladies, because I saw this and I'm like, this is perfect for toxic femininity, and I'm so glad that J Money J asked us this with $4.99. Thank you. Are SJW lunatics really complaining about episode 2 of the Mandalorian series not having no female representation? Have I missed something? No.
Yeah, they did miss something then, because Emily Swallows the armorer, and that
was in the first episode.
Well, but she's going to be she's a main character.
Right. We know that she's coming back, but this is something already, and I've seen it already. A buttload of people have lost their goddamn minds.
Good.
There's no female representation in this show.
Deal with it.
So,
Deal with it.
being the hub for this, I wanted to each individually get your feelings on this, like
Okay.
how you really feel about the situation, and what I posed already about the fact that we never know. Baby Yoda could be a girl.
It could be a girl, but
So could Space Rhino. Okay.
Everything that we've been presented with the new Disney Star Wars, everything that they've given us has put a female front and center. Every single movie, with the exception of Han Solo, has had a female front and center. They are countless at this point.
Whatever. Khaleesi saved his ass in that too.
Exactly. So why are you losing your mind that a female isn't necessarily front and center? It's not that they're not in here. They're in here, right? And I don't see them being done any ill will. We've got strong female Mandalorian freaking forging out some steel here, right? Like some Beskar steel. There's nothing wrong with the representation we've gotten so far. She is a main character. Why is it such a terrible thing to have a show focus on a guy for once? Star Wars, what's the problem?
I feel so toxic that I didn't even recognize that was a factor for people, that they were looking for a vagina this whole time and they didn't get it. I feel bad for them if that's all they were looking for. My God, go to a strip club if that's all you need to be happy. Don't look for it on Disney Plus. What are you guys doing? No, but seriously, I'm curious about this because, again, we have, I feel like they're really going to be super upset when they find out that the Mandalorian is not going to be a woman. I'm so sorry. They're going to really put the wah and whammon when they find out that the Mandalorian is going to be still the main protagonist, and that's going to be okay. It's not going to be Cara Dune. It's not going to be Emily Swallows the armorer. I'm okay with that. And when they find out that Bill Burr,
Wait, Emily Swallows.
Yeah, from yes, it is ripe with comedy, isn't it, Tom? But save it for another time. Let me continue. Yes, Bill Burr, the controversial comedian from Paper Tigers, great. He ranted on SJWs the entire time. Yeah, and so randomly, Jon Favreau, knowing this, by the way, still put him on his cast. I think it's really funny, and it tells you a lot about their I don't give an F attitude to the SJWs so far in this series.
So far, yes, so far so good. And I love that Miss pulled her pearls out. I totally forgot to grab mine. Clutching your pearls.
Clutch your pearls, ladies.
You were going to say, Miss.
That killed me when you looked around and you were like, I don't know where my
There's not enough vagina in Mandalorian. It's not. We got man in the title.
Are you assuming the droid's gender?
Droid lives matter. I have spoken.
Golly.
No, funnily enough, when I was watching the show, I did not sit there and go, where's my token female?
Mhm.
And funnily enough, when I saw a female on the show, I didn't go, there she is. My female.
I'm
The
excited
women
about
that are meant to
the two main
represent-
females. They're going to have great storylines, and I'm really excited about it because I just love their overall, just how they were cast already, and what I've seen in the trailers already. Cara Dune training other people with like samurai style in a line and of some village. She's literally just watching them train in a line, doing like all their moves in unison. I love that. I think it's going to be great, and so I'm all for it.
But why do they have to be like, okay, oh my God, we are two episodes in, guys, and we haven't had a female front and center.
Yes. The bar is low for these people. You just throw a vagina in or a Ray and we're good to go. I mean, gosh. Parkour Ray, just have her jumping up a lot of things and climbing to the top of stuff. And
Hold up. Did you just call her a parkour?
Yes, I did.
I'm offended for Ray. I have spoken.
For myself.
No, it is interesting that they expect us to just lose our minds because a woman is up on the screen. And it does go to show that the other side of this coin, that the people, the SJWs who are out there pushing this agenda, will not be happy until they have eradicated males from every prominent position in these films. They just won't be happy until that's the case. 2 episodes in, you're 2 episodes in, you've had some female representation and you're not pleased. But where's my women? Where's my women? Oh my
Why
God.
didn't a woman cartwheel onto the scene and take the spotlight from the Mandalorian? What the hell?
It's like we know what you guys want and you're not going to get it. I don't think you're going to get it, and I'm okay with that. I don't think they're going to get it. I don't think they're going to do this random bait and switch, not when they have this anomaly on Rotten Tomatoes of critics and audience scores the way it is. I think that this was a smart plan with Dave and John following a storyline like this that is centered around a male, traditionally male, I mean, I don't think it's going to turn into a Sabine or anything like that. Or Bo-Katan coming out of somewhere. I do think the armor could be Bo-Katan, but I'm not 100% on that. But I don't think that she's going to take over the role of protagonist. No, they're crazy. But we already knew that.
She's obviously a mentor.
Yeah, she's the leader, because if you walk into the armor, you see the big mythosaur on the top, and that is an emblem or signet of the leader. So this person, she looks like the priestess on an altar. Well, she is the leader of this tribe for sure.
What is a foundling? Does anyone know what that is? Because
It's like an orphan.
There's no official definition of it yet on Wikipedia regarding it, but we can assume that I would assume a foundling is someone who is found and then raised in that tradition,
in that culture. Yeah.
Okay.
Candace is right. We're assuming that it's an orphan essentially.
Okay.
So that's fine. I actually quite like that notion with the Mandalorian, that he's sort of seeking out his place within this culture, or maybe because he was like, well, has your signet shown itself yet? Right. Like that's clearly important to the culture. It's clearly important to him. And she's reassuring him it will. Right. So this is something that is important, I think, to the journey of our Mandalorian here. And Lord forbid I be invested in the journey of a male. Oh, wow. Isn't that mind-blowing, guys, that I could be more invested in the journey of a male than I am than a journey of a female, like, for example, Rey. I don't care. I do not care about Rey. But the Mandalorian, for what they've shown me of him so far and his character building, I am invested. I want to know what's going on with him. I want to see that he finds his signet, that he finds his place, that he finds where it is that he belongs in this galaxy. And that interests me. So for the reservations that I do have so far for this series, for our wonderful little Mando himself, I love him, penis and all. It's wonderful.
I pose one question for you girls. I do. I want to know your take on this, because I got a weird question on I think it was on our roundtable actually on Geeks and Gamers, about how some guys are not thinking, they think that the Mandalorian is soy because he keeps fumbling. And my take was that I likened him to that of Indiana Jones, where we had a messy but yet persistent protagonist who would get the job done no matter what it took, but it may not come across as perfection. And that vulnerability is what makes them relatable and likable to me. But I thought it interesting to hear someone actually say they didn't like the Mandalorian because they think that it's a purposefully agenda-driven narrative that he is meant to fail.
There was a point where when he fell off the Jawa's vehicle that I can't remember the freaking name of,
the Sandcrawler.
The Sandcrawler, when he fell off it, there was sort of like if they had put a laugh track in there, would have made total sense.
Well, I found it as like subdued comedy from the originals, like what we used to get. I think and even prequels.
It was fun.
I liked it.
I don't see it. He's been presented to us as someone who's very good at his job, really good at his job, who's really like a strong person who doesn't do conversation. Like his personality is very clear to us in some ways. I don't see him as all soy. He doesn't really bend the knee to anyone.
He's still wearing beat down armor. He doesn't have any kind of like whiff of being this perfected Mandalorian yet. We do have pictures of him and video of him when he does have the beautiful armor, the jetpack, all the upgrades, total Mandalorian style then, but we're not there yet.
So we got nailed in the chest by a rhino. Right, like I know it has a different name, but I don't care. We get nailed in the chest by a rhino and still got up. Right, like he's a badass.
I like it. I find it sexy. I think he's sexy underneath all the armor. I don't want him to take the helmet off.
I kind of don't want him to take it off
either. Do not Kylo Ren this, please. Do not Kylo Ren. Premature helmet takeoff. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I love that. Can I steal that? I'm writing.
I said this before. You can take anything you want, Mary. It is all yours.
No, I don't see anything soy about our Mandalorian here. I agree with you. I actually love the analogy that you brought up there with him to sort of Indiana Jones, where there are moments where he doesn't have it all together, where he's not perfect, where he doesn't nail everything perfectly. But that's humanity. That's how you relate to a person when they can't do everything perfectly, but they still get up, they still keep trying, they still keep pushing forward, right? And even if they have to manage it in a way that isn't so spectacularly clean and crystal clear, it still gets done, right? So I think it's a very relatable way to express him to us, and I like him. I like our Mandalorian, and I want to see what happens with him moving forward. I think he's so far been fleshed out. Well, certainly episode 1 did a great job of giving us a really good impression of him and what it is that we can take away from his character. He's cold when he needs to be, but he's not completely despondent either. And so I do like him so far, and he's capable, but not necessarily clean cut. Not everything is super refined all of the time, especially when you throw him in a situation that's a little bit out of his depth. So yeah, I mean, like, I never climbed up the side of a sand crawler while, what was it you said, my own pieces of my own ship were being chucked at me, but I'm pretty sure it'd be hard.
I loved it. And I love the fact, when they the egg, and then all of a sudden, you've got this, they tear it open like a Cadbury and start digging into it like ice cream. I love it. I think it's a great, I said this in my review today, and so you guys are getting a little sneak, but I said, basically, I felt like I was sitting next to myself, my child self, and I was enjoying it both as child and adult again. And I like that. It was an in-a-body and out-of-body experience all at the same time.
It has its great moments, that's for sure.
Not the master.
Not the master. That was cute. Baby. Oh, doesn't Baby Yoda remind you of the baby from Dinosaur? The baby I am. Love your master.
Hungry baby.
Great show.
That's adorable. So I don't know. Do you want to move on to our next? We've been at this for an hour for the Mandalorian, and I could go all night.
Yeah. So obviously, you think it's pretty silly that there's this griping about the lack of female representation in Mandalorian. You ladies have no issues with it whatsoever. It sounds
not at all. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Never even occurred.
There was I did see someone make a post talking about the blurg and how how the females killing their mate.
I love that. That was the one moment that they get that was totally like,
No,
yeah.
someone was like, that's an attack on men. Someone made a post where like they're attacking.
They can have that one. I'm sure our men don't care. They can have it.
Praying
I
mantis
see
do it
a
all
few-
the time.
Yeah, praying mantis, blurgs, whatevs.
There's blurgs in the Ewok movies, but anyway, no, I think that it's a big bunch of horse pucky, and they need to get over it. I enjoy the show so far. I'm waiting for the rug to be pulled out from under us, though. Hopefully it isn't. I share a lot of the same feelings that the ladies have presented here to you guys. So I do recommend you check out their individual feelings on it if they have them on their channels, which I'm assuming most of you do.
I actually have a video coming up tomorrow where I will break down my issues with it and, of course, my reasons why. But again, let me reiterate, I hope for the best, but I am mentally and emotionally prepared for the worst here. So I hope I'm wrong. So. Do we have any more success before we move on?
Yes, we did. We had one more, I believe, unless I missed any. Matt G, $5. In Clone Wars, Yoda spoke to the ghost of Darth Bane, voiced by Mark Hamill.
Show enough.
Interesting.
All right.
So that means good guys can talk to bad guys.
These four ladies rock from Hugh.
Why are you on my cell phone?
Put your wig back on, Tom.
I keep seeing this over and over in the chat, you guys. The plot twist is not going to be that the Mandalorian is a woman. I know that you guys like want this to happen because you're like F all things Disney, but they're not going to. That would cancel so many of their subscriptions that they are banking on right now. Y'all are out of your minds. I love you guys in the chat, but seriously, get it together. That is not a working theory.
I dare you to do it. I totally like
that either. So don't go there.
Pedro Pascal is the actor of this. Okay, Pedro Pascal is who we've got, right? This is who we've got. It's okay.
A black trans woman, they're saying, would be hilarious. Guys, like, y'all are out of your minds. I love it. Keep it up. But seriously, though.
I do not recognize the name Pedro Pascal, so I don't know what he looks like. So I'm keeping that until he takes his helmet off for a
He is so sexy. You know.
Oh my god,
how sexy he is! Like, it's just
oh my god, Tom.
Like, oh my god.
Like, oh my god, sexy.
That's so unsettling. So, Candace, if we're good to move on to the next topic, Candace has a doozy for us now. Disney doing things right. Could be a trend. Could be a trend.
Fallen order.
Maybe not fixing everything, but doing some good stuff, right, Miss Candace?
You're talking about what, the Fallen Order?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Do we have anything that I can be playing while I'm
going to try and share it here, but if I have trouble, somebody else might have to help me out.
Okay.
We'll try. I'll give it the old college try, as they say.
Okay, great. Well, I have some gameplay that I gave Tom of myself going through the first about 3 to 4 hours of this game. And so for those of you who are not gamers, I'll just say that, EA is the one that did this game. They bought out all the Star Wars stuff. We've got Battlefront 1, They really suck at single player story modes for anything, and it's really tough. They really bank on multiplayer. So people were really hoping for a very good, just a really good, like feels right kind of Star Wars single player where you are pulled into the storyline. And I am thankful to say that, yes, I believe that we've hit that. Generally speaking, there's a few cons that I have towards it. Gosh, I wish we could have our video playing. Anyway.
Yeah, one of you guys are going to have to help share that.
Okay,
it's not working for me. Here's the, if Mary can do it, if not Miss, one of the
don't need the audio, no audio.
Okay, so let me go ahead and take care of this for you, and I'll pull it up.
Thank you.
All right. I got you right here.
Yes. So basically, I have a few notes that I just wanted to talk about it because I me and my notepads. What am I going to do? So yeah, there's been this big EA debacle. They tend to include lots of microtransactions, lots of DLC content to basically make people pay. It's a racket, really. So this is the first standalone game in a while that they've put out, and the success so far of it has been pretty great. So it's going to be interesting to see if EA can move forward with this kind of game style. To if they could put more out like this. Respawn is the company behind putting this together too, and they did a fantastic job. So if you are, it is not anything like Force Unleashed. So anyone who's played that and is thinking that, no, nothing like that. It has an Uncharted feel, and the game with in terms of gameplay dynamics, meaning like when your character is actively like going up something or messing with the environment in some way, it is interactive. You'll see him when you're walking by certain points that your character will just start talking randomly about like, oh gosh, well oh no, that shouldn't be happening. It's just very immersive in that respect. So the other thing too, which is kind of a con for me, but I do like it in some respects, a lot of wall running, a lot of platform jumping, very Titanfall 2-esque. And it is fun in certain points, but it kind of takes you out of the game when there's so much of it. So the fighting styles are a lot like Sekiro and God of War, or Sekiro and God of War. So very seamless, going into your attacks and then pulling out back into your environment. I loved that. The other thing is so basically all of this is just basically kill enemies, get your EXP, level up. You have a skill tree that you can build out. You have spawn points that you can, once you find them, you sit down, you meditate, you get to put your skill points in those skill tree and move on. And it's very interesting because, if you choose to rest, all the enemies that you previously defeated, well, they are then respawned. So it's like, okay, do I really want that health back? I don't know. It's quite the gamble. So it's kind of fun. It was interesting. And then, that's also harkening back to I think God of War. Anyway, so it's not as hard as Souls for you people that are like, okay, is this gonna, no, but it does have your ability to change the difficulty. So you like 4 different modes, and that makes it really nice. I enjoy that. And the different modes don't just give the enemies more life. That's so boring. It actually basically just kind of reduces the time that it takes for you to react, your initial response. So they are quicker. And the big thing to this game is how to parry and be defensive, because man, if you do not time your defenses well, you will get schooled hardcore in this. And if you want to watch me get schooled a lot, I will be live streaming my gameplay from this point on, from my very first go at this tomorrow night. I will be on. And I will say the stormtroopers have much better aim in this game than they do in the movies. So I love that. It's kind of fun.
Have you hit the frog yet?
Huh?
I see everybody complaining about the frog. Have you hit the frog yet?
I hit the 3-eyed toad, and it was in fact on my Twitter, it's @GeekyCandy. I always post my bloopers on there, and you can see the last 24 hours I've like got 3 bloopers from this first gameplay series I've got. And yes, the 3-eyed toad is he's what made me go from master to Jedi Knight, so in difficulty mode. So he was a jerk, and I thoroughly disliked him, and I tried to avoid him every time I had to pass him by. Other cons are enemy variety, not a whole lot. Didn't like that. No fast travel, which kind of sucks. So when you complete an objective, you have to like run all the way back to your ship. And if those enemies respawn, that is quite troubling sometimes. So, and it seems redundant. I feel like that's something they could add though in a later patch. They should add that in a later patch. There should be an option to just respawn back at your landing pad for your ship, because these maps are expansive. They're very large. There's a lot of ability to explore beyond your objectives, so you can increase your gameplay time from like 17 to 18 hours for just a main objective playthrough, all the way up to like 23 to 25, or maybe even more, like up to 30, depending on how hard you play it, just completing everything. So it's massive, and it's fun, and I like it a lot. And you can even upgrade your lightsaber, you guys. You can go out and find things for your lightsaber, build it, kind of make it your own. I'm about it. It's pretty good.
I have a question. So a lot of the recent games that have been released in terms of Star Wars have been like sort of pay to play stuff, right? That's not an issue with this. Is that correct?
This is the first time that we don't have that as of yet. Right now, there's going to be no microtransactions or DLC announced yet. We were given the impression that that won't be the case, but who the heck knows? It's EA. They have a history of doing this. Let's hope not. But honestly, with the way the game plays, I don't see it making much of a difference. People would not need to buy. This is a standalone game. It doesn't need, I mean, okay, so yeah, maybe they'll offer new skins and things like that you can't find in the game, which you can find customizable things for your ship, for your person, armor, things like that. I don't see a way for them to be able to do that with typical microtransactions or DLC.
A gentleman in the chat wants to know if you can go into first person.
Not that I'm aware of. No, great question. I played third person the whole time, and jumping platforms and wall running third person all the time was a big issue for me. I don't like it as much as I want to. I didn't like it much in Titanfall 2 either. I'm just awful at it. So basically, yeah, I just judge it wrong. And when you're coming off of a rope, Indiana Jones style, swinging on a rope, and you have to land on a wall run and then onto a platform, like you can see here, I'm using the force right here to stop these like wind turbine looking things, and incorporating that with wall running and platform jumping and timing of things, it can get a little bit tough at times, but it is a fun game, and anyone who's on the fence, I'd say absolutely go for it, because it's something that you will be immersed in it. And if you're wanting something to feel like an addition to Star Wars, which is falling between Revenge of the Sith and Solo, so it's a very very sad time period, and it's able to traverse that era of our Star Wars timeline very well, incorporate new creatures, new planets. It's fun.
Okay.
Well, I haven't personally. Oh, nice.
This woman don't play video games. Okay, yeah. Hey, come join me on Call of Duty Modern Warfare next time, and then tell me that.
Next time you need a play for World of Warcraft, don't come hollering at me. I was the third best geared on my server, so.
I'm used to guys thinking that, oh no, you don't play. No, not since my Unreal 2003 days, or 2003, and then Counter-Strike, Dust 2.0. Yeah, honey, I'm an OG gamer. Get over it.
Yeah, I would like to say the same, but I play on easy on video games.
Well, look, and I won't front. I haven't played Fallen Order, and so I'm not even going to begin to pretend that. But the gaming world is a vast space to traverse, and not all gamers play the same games. I'm more of an MMORPG kind of girl, and so that's just where I typically will land. But I mean, hey, you do you, honey boo, and I have nothing but props for Candace. She absolutely knows what the hell she's talking about.
Yeah, she does really know.
I played Pac-Man.
Oh my god, Pac-Man. I've played Pac-Man for like years.
I played the Pac-Man. And
what about Galaga? Come on now.
I played Super Mario Brothers for like 2 minutes, and I died.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Deep for GTFO. So, all right. Well, I haven't played Fallen Order personally. I've heard nothing, not nothing but good things, but I've heard mostly really good things about it so far. And so, I may get into that. We'll see sooner or later. That's a lot of stuff for me to do. So, I'm a good. Miss trying to fix your shit.
Got out of focus there for a second. Wow.
Thanks for running my gameplay, by the way. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I watched some of your gameplay. And I watched some of Drunk's gameplay.
Uh-huh.
And I was there when you were assisting him.
Oh, yeah, he needed a little help, huh?
He needed a bit of help.
I just think I call him Mr. Story Mode now, because he went to the low. I don't want to talk bad about Jay here. Yeah, I love Jay. I love Jay, but he's Mr. Story Mode.
Hi, Peanut Gallery.
What is next?
So Disney Plus has got some stuff going on, guys. I got a couple of articles here.
Okay.
You need me to share them, Tom?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, not a problem.
My man stuff is not working tonight. My technology is all fucked up. I need a woman to help me.
It's all right, sweetie.
Someone come take my man card.
I'll whip out my whammon card and help. So we got a couple of articles we're going to traverse very quickly, but Disney Plus has got some issues, guys. So the first one I'm going to pull up here is about the outdated cultural depictions that have been going on, the trigger warnings that
Trigger
are
warnings.
trigger warning, guys. If you are sensitive and have issues with, not being a bitch, then you might not want to go watch old school Disney cartoons. Sorry. Let me see if I can make sure I grab the right one here. There we go. Bam. All right. So that is sharing in the bottom there. All right, so Disney Plus outdated cultural depictions. Disclaimer, raises questions, says advocacy groups. Several representatives of minority advocacy groups spoke with the Hollywood Reporter about their reactions to the streamers' disclaimers for films such as 1767's The Jungle Book and 1953's Peter Pan. As 10 million Disney Plus subscribers browse through the new streaming platform's hefty film and TV library, a line at the end of select content summaries might catch their attention. This program is presented as originally created. It may contain outdated cultural depictions. The disclaimer appears with some animated Disney classics such as 1967's The Jungle Book and 1953's Peter Pan, offering caution to viewers of racist and culturally insensitive depictions and references in the plots and characters of those movies. But just which films and shows meet the criteria for the disclaimer is not clear. Jungle Book received a disclaimer, yet 2003's animated sequel did not. Additionally, 1992's animated Aladdin, criticized for its racist depictions of Middle Eastern and Arab culture, does not feature the warning in its synopsis. Several representatives of minority advocacy groups spoke with the Hollywood Reporter about their reactions to the Disney Plus disclaimer and what, if any, extra measures can be enacted by Disney to caution viewers of culturally insensitive material. Overall, group representatives say they appreciate efforts made by Disney to recognize outdated cultural depictions, while advocating for films like Aladdin or 1995's Pocahontas to also receive the disclaimer. I would hope that Disney would do it for all the films that might include some things that are a little outdated, says Azita Ghanizada. Ooh, honey. Okay, founder of MENA, Middle Eastern North African Arts Advocacy Coalition, especially with Aladdin, with those orientalized tropes that we're kind of pushing back against. Ghanizada notes a 2015 public policy poll in which 1/3 of Republican primary voters supported bombing the fictional kingdom of Agrabah, the setting of Aladdin. Wow. These animated films teach us so much, and especially young kids, Ghanizada says. It would be great if Disney did it across the board for all of their older cartoons that may be a little insensitive. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there. It does bring into reference the Peter Pan, the offensive natures of of Native Americans caricatures. And then the 1940s Fantasia was criticized for the depiction of Black Centaurette and things like that. They did it to Aristocats. They just did it to various different movies. And so they're pushing for more of this stuff to be across different movies on the platform of Disney Plus. And I do indeed take issue with that. My issue being nut up, people.
But it's No Nut November. What are they to do, these SJWs? My God.
Look,
I'm just kidding.
There's also a sexist, quote unquote, depiction of Wendy in Peter Pan, where they're squaw, go get 'em firewood, where they name her Mother Wendy, where they have her filling traditionally feminine roles, right? Well, am I supposed to lose my mind over a representation of a woman doing traditionally female tasks? No, I'm not going to lose my mind over that. I think at the end of the day, you have to recognize what these things are. They're just cartoons. And if you're talking to some dumbasses about bombing Agrabah, maybe you don't take them so seriously. Maybe you don't take those people seriously if they're thinking about bombing Agrabah. They're dumb.
I don't remember a lot of the Disney movies that I watched back then, but I certainly didn't remember them being offensive. And I mean,
look, I'm not saying. Go ahead.
Pete's Dragon didn't have one about child abuse.
I just can't wait until trigger warnings themselves become culturally outdated. That's all I'm going to say. They need to.
There are in fact some culturally insensitive depictions in these movies. Absolutely. The crows in Dumbo, it's a little racist. It is, but why do you need a trigger warning? What are you being triggered by? What exactly are you losing your mind?
Yeah, but they're the ones who teach him how to fly.
They do. They do. I'm not trying to make excuses for that. What I'm saying here is that this is a cartoon, folks. It's a cartoon, and
An elephant is
kids aren't going to pick up on
the
that.
elephant can fly.
Not unless you shove it in their face. They're not going to pick up on that, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah,
I've seen just about anything. I ain't never seen an elephant fly.
Then you haven't seen Dumbo. Either
I'm lying. That was the song.
Either incarnation. I know what it is.
Me and an airplane.
Seen about everything when I see it.
Everything, not anything. Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Well, thank you.
I did watch the Tim Burton's Dumbo recently, and it sucks.
I didn't watch it. I was afraid.
Look, this is silly. Look, okay, so coming from a different place, okay? Let's say that you are offended by watching this, right? Let's say that you are offended. You are genuinely offended. It's just words. You'll be fine. You will be fine. And I am a firm believer that if you are in fact uncomfortable in certain situations, things that trigger warning. Where is my trigger warning? If you're uncomfortable in certain situations, that you've been impacted by things in your life that may make certain situations difficult for you to deal with, then I am a firm believer that you should in fact try to expose yourself to that a bit more often as possible, just to kind of toughen your skin a little bit, because there are harsh things out there in the world. There are rough things out there that you're going to encounter. And if you can't handle a cartoon, honey, then I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, don't be that parent that says no to your child asking to watch cartoons before the 70s, because seriously, that's how they all, I mean, it's just such a, what an awful thing to do. Don't be that parent, you guys, please.
And that wouldn't work anyway. Telling your kid you can't watch something. Try telling them they can't do something. Give that a try for a while and see what happens. Watch what happens to your kid.
And I love what Candace said about that. Look, they're not going to pick, or what was it? Was it Candace or Thomas? That they're not even going to pick up on that stuff unless you shove it in their face.
Yeah, exactly.
I had no concept as a child when I watched things like the Aristocats with the Siamese cat and the Jun on his head. I had no concept that was offensive to anyone in any way.
What about Lady and the Tramp and the Siamese cats there?
Or with Peter Pan and the
kids aren't gonna know though. That's the thing. Like, it's just
we are Siamese, if you please.
There are terrible things in this world. Terrible things out there.
I like them movies, and I don't care. I didn't notice anything racist about it. I didn't even think about the crows until somebody else pointed it out.
That's the point. It's so stupid.
I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck is racist about Jungle Book. And I know what y'all are probably going to tell me, and I'm going to be like, that is fucking stupid, and it's just racist for thinking that it's racist.
I love that.
And if you don't understand what I mean, what that means is you've taken it to a point where something that wasn't meant to be racist and made it racist just for your own fucking self-gratification.
You're overcomplicating things, Tom.
Yes.
Explode people's heads.
I'm going to explode myself into what happens when a peanut explodes.
You get roasted.
I'm going to be roasted peanut butter.
I love it. So then we do have another one that we're going to move on to here. I have another article. So Disney Plus, full of issues. Absolutely full of issues.
I have spoken.
This next one actually amuses me even more so. Good luck with this one. Really good luck with this one, Disney Plus. So Disney Plus wants to crack down on piracy following the launch of Disney Plus. Good luck. You have any idea how many people you've ticked off and how difficult it is going to be to prevent them from taking this stuff and doing. Nobody wants to pay for your junk, Disney. Nobody wants to pay for your junk.
And if they want to be cracking down on piracy, they really need to just follow up with Jack Sparrow, and because nobody really needs another Pirates of the Caribbean coming back, which they are talking about putting into production again. And I'm just like so over that. So if we're going to be talking about piracy, they can go ahead and shove it.
We happen to talk about that on Toxic Femininity over on Midnight's Edge After Dark. If you
listen to what they're going to be doing here. Listen to what they're going to be doing here, guys. This is insane, and it's not going to work either. So Disney wants to crack down on piracy following the launch of Disney Plus. We recently learned that Disney is working with Charter to cut down on password sharing. Now Disney is looking to crack down on piracy following the launch of Disney Plus. Good luck. Torrent Freak recently spotted a job listing for someone to join Disney's piracy intelligence team. This team works to keep an eye on piracy and put a stop to it. Here is how Disney describes the new job opening. The piracy intelligence team at the Walt Disney Studios is based in Burbank and provides meaningful piracy insights to inform strategists that maximize revenue for the film and TV business and minimize the piracy impact. In this job, the new hire will work on piracy intelligence initiatives and measure movie and TV viewing trends across digital media platforms. That's right, guys. They're watching you. Shortly after Disney Plus launched, several Disney Plus originals ended up on piracy services. So you can see why Disney wants to crack down on it. With Disney moving to focus on selling direct to consumers, the need to put a stop to piracy is more important than ever. Disney is already active in the fight against piracy. The Alliance for Creativity and Entertainment, ACE, is a group that fights piracy and has recently gone after several large piracy operations. Disney is a member and has joined in several attempts to fight piracy. Exactly what Disney plans to do about piracy next is still unknown.
Yeah.
Getting more
cease and desist.
Right?
Yeah, okay.
But getting more information is likely just the first step in fighting piracy. Add in Disney's efforts to work against password sharing, and we may be seeing the initial steps in a new fight against piracy. Disclaimer, to address the growing use of ad blockers. Oh, wait, that doesn't even have anything to do with anything. Never mind that noise. So Disney is now going to attempt to keep an eye on you.
That was Samantha.
Yeah, from Bewood.
I have spoken.
Yeah. Good luck getting rid of Plex. That's all I'm going to say.
I bet you $1,000 the person who wrote that article has one pirated movie on their computer.
It reminds me when like Napster and LimeWire were out and everybody was like, oh, we're going to get you for downloading on peer-to-peer, programs, the music and all of that. And it ended up being this huge thing that the music industry actually suffered on a little bit because of their unwillingness to relent to some of what was going on. So I get it from both. I understand both sides of this, but I think it's funny to see what kind of proactive approach that Disney's going to have in this because, yeah, honestly, there's nothing you can do. Just like Goldblum says, it'll find a way.
Exactly. The minute that you start putting stuff into place to stop people from doing this, they're going to come up with new methods. That's all there is to it. And look, I'm not promoting piracy. I mean, you do you, honey boo, right? But at the end of the day, people are going to do what they're going to do. And good luck, Disney, short of bursting into their homes and going, let me see your files. You're not going to be able to do anything about this. So I get it. I do get it because people, you're going to have an issue. Like you're having to give away accounts with Verizon in order to get people to watch.
Pirate's going to pirate, you guys. And, Disney going to hate. And that's just, it is what it is. So, let them have it. Let them try. Good luck.
You may try.
I mean, people who work at Disney pirate movies.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like,
who said that thing they're quoting pirates movies?
Do what?
Yeah. Disney's been trying for a long time to limit the scope of their production with things. I mean, it's weird. If you go back to physical copies of movies in their vault, they've made purposeful attempts to keep things always, being wanted and being, they never want people to be able to have easy access to the stuff, which is, it's kind of smart. But, at the same token, it just shows this is not some new thing that they're just coming out with. They've been doing this since the vault days with their actual, physical content that you could take home and put in your, DVD player. So VHS.
Sitting there dubbing copies of their DVDs, selling them $5 bootleg.
Yeah.
At the back of their car.
Hey. You're not supposed to be telling on certain people we know.
Poor Fatal J.
Poor Fatal
selling them
J.
$5 bootleg.
You getting in trouble. It's a joke, y'all. It's like
It's a joke. Woosah.
anyway, no, you guys are right. And not only that, I heard that it's not even in Australia or the UK yet, which is gonna make a buttload of people want to pirate this stuff, considering they can't get it till March.
Yeah. Especially the Mandalorian.
Well, it's not even like
That's what I mean.
our good friend Stig, who lives over in Norway, can't get it yet. So, of course he pirated it. I'm not saying he pirated it, I'm just saying of course he would if he wanted to, right? So like,
well, there's VPNs and shit too, but then again, that's why they're cracking down, quote unquote, on this
Just share a library with
thing.
someone with Plex. That's all you have to do. Someone with Plex just has a library, shares it. Anyone can watch it, and they're not going to get in trouble because they're just a watcher on someone else's library. The person with the library would be the one that could possibly get dinged. But right now, with the laws that they currently are, and I've looked into this a little bit, not going to say why, but yeah, I do know, I do understand. Right now, they've been trying to get Plex in trouble for a long time, ever since it pretty much came out, and they're still holding strong, but not in all the countries. Some countries they're getting in trouble with. But
well, here in America. Look, I use my mama's account. Log into that, and I have a profile on there, and I'm not going to stop doing that. Why am I not going to stop doing that? Because you can't make me. So
yeah.
I love the idea that there's a Disney representative watching us right now, writing the names down of people
Yeah.
in the chat.
I don't do this stuff that these crazy ladies do.
I'm not associated with piracy at all. I did not pirate the video.
Guys,
I mean-
we need to find Mary Mayhem. She's
We'll take her
bad.
down.
Yeah, you don't want
She
to
even
try
sounds-
anything with me right now. I am
What
full
is
commando.
piracy?
She even sounds like a supervillain, right?
Somewhere in Kentucky, there's a woman named Mary Mayhem running around.
Now that you told them they know that.
Do what?
They're
Now that
sending
you
their
told
planes to Norway right now to take out Steve.
We must take out the Stieg person. All right. Now, before we move on to anything else, was there any questions from the chat that we've gotten tonight that you ladies wanted to address, or did you?
I was active in the chat, and I
So,
was
yeah,
trying
I
to
didn't know
address
if there was
them.
any-
I was trying to be like multitasker tonight.
I was trying to address as many as I could too. I didn't know if anybody copied or pasted any while we were.
I didn't. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
I meant to. I had the notepad pulled up, and then I completely epically failed to do so. Corva, baby.
You guys are just gonna have to. We're still getting the training wheels are off. You're gonna have to give us, but we do plan on taking more questions throughout the show. But we're still trying to get the hang of things here, so do be patient. Oh, we got a super chat from Ryan Cannell. How you doing? Hail to these wonderful ladies and Tom. Thank you.
And Tom.
You're a wonderful lady too, Tom.
Aw.
And I don't
Back on.
think we missed one other super chat in between, right or no?
One, a
Matt
little
G, $2. Disney Plus Last Jedi warning: film contains no plot.
yes, I saw that. I thought that was
Yeah,
fantastic.
that is hilarious.
If they get a freaking trigger warning for something like, oh my Bob, guys, what make the red man red for freaking Peter Pan, then I want a trigger warning for all of the sexism depicted in The Last Jedi by putting a woman into a situation and acting like she can do anything she wants. I can't relate to that. I can't relate to that. That's sexist.
No.
And I want a trigger warning.
Yeah, trigger warnings are so subjective. It's so dumb to see. And I have a feeling that they're going to be like a huge indicator of how successful a show or a movie is going to be. Just like, look what happened to Joker. There was not, trigger warnings, but essentially the media did it for everyone. I feel like if they do this, it's just going to be the same thing.
Trigger warning. I find it so ridiculous. It's not even real in my head. It's like, trigger warning. You may spontaneously combust while watching this movie on your couch because the stuff in here is a little old-fashioned.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask you, ladies, how do you feel about the functionality of Disney Plus? How do you feel about some of the things we saw? Your overall impressions of Disney Plus since we've had it now for just about a week, and these were hilarious. These were one of the few things to come out of the Daily Show, because the first day or so people were having so many issues with Disney Plus. I don't know if you ladies wanted to comment on that at
I've
all.
never seen
Pick me.
that.
I got one. I got a problem. I got a big old problem. Okay, you ready for this? I've been trying to rewatch the Clone Wars, right? Because it got taken off of Netflix. And so I've been trying to rewatch the Clone Wars for the last couple of nights now. And every time that it switches to the next episode, the volume goes right the heck back up all the way to the top. I just adjusted this thing. Why the heck is it going back to all the way full volume? Why don't you have one setting for the volume? If I move it, let it sit there until I move it again. I'm about to fall asleep, right? I'm having a wonderful time going to bed with visions of Force users in my head. And instead, I'm jolted back to awakeness because something went around. And I'm like, well, shit. So now I gotta get up, go over to my computer again, and readjust the volume. Now, eventually, I obviously just figured, okay, so it's gonna stay full, and then I'll just adjust the computer volume itself. But that's stupid because now tomorrow I gotta adjust my computer volume again back to where I want it to be normally. This is a stupid function. Fix your volume. Let me put it one place and leave it there. That's all.
Would it fix it if they put a trigger warning that it might trigger your PTSD because the volume goes
Right?
fuck up
Right?
immediately?
It was so stupid. I was so annoyed by that last night. I kept trying. I was verge of falling asleep. This happened twice. Twice last night. I was nearly asleep. And Clone Wars.
Yeah. They're watching you, Mary. They're watching you.
Like, shit.
Yeah.
We want your family to know that you're watching Disney Plus.
It was like fucking scooters. And that was the end of
Just
it.
imagine Mary gets up and just grabs something and starts swinging at the air. Am I under attack?
We know it's 3 a.m, but fuck your baby. We want to wake it up.
So I watch it on Android and on the main screen on like through an internet browser, and I haven't had too many issues. Sporadically it'll say like this can't play, but I haven't had the issues that Mary's had. I'm kind of interested to just play some Clone Wars and see what the hell's going on. I'd say overall, other than the and I got very lucky on the launch day or the launch night. I got in early, and so I got lucky there. But I feel like overall, for the first week it's been open. I mean, it's had hiccups, but I feel like most people have been able to watch what they want to watch.
I'm not ever Tom saying fuck your baby.
Yeah, I know. I was just sitting there like, fuck your baby.
Well, I had a few issues the first day and the second day, and I noticed I was pissed that Mandalorian was on the web version of Disney Plus a good 4 hours before it was on my PS4 app.
Yeah.
And I wanted to watch it with 5.1 surround sound on my big TV. I didn't want to sit here and watch it on my little crammed computer thing.
I threw it right on OBS. So I didn't mind it.
I think it's too expensive. Disney Plus is too expensive for me.
$6.99 is too expensive for Miss. You hear that, folks? You need to send this lady some money.
It's too damn expensive. No,
The taxes are too damn high. I don't know if anybody else gets that joke.
I do.
my friend from work.
I'm old school in that.
used her account so I could watch it. Watch The Mandalorian. So
You're gonna get busted by the Disney people that wrote that fucking article we just read. Jesus.
my
For,
friend from work is not that bad.
for Zobek, Lord of the Dead, what's in the cup? Nothing anymore. But it was orange juice.
What's in the cup?
The rent is too damn high.
Yes, Kevin Street. That's what she was referencing.
Thank you.
So yeah, I mean,
spent enough time on the site to sort of.
how do you guys feel about the selection? I was kind of disappointed, but I also have like a huge Blu-ray and DVD collection to where I admit I have a good probably half of the Disney exclusives from the Disney Movie Club that are probably a big deal to a lot of people that have gotten this to where they have not seen these movies in so long. But guess what? I've got Pete's Dragon. I've got the Mighty Ducks. I got Honey, I
Knobs and
Shrunk the
Broomsticks?
Kids. I've got all these movies. Yes. So, I mean, to me, it's just like, it's a bunch of crap I already have. So to me, at first, my first interaction with it was, oh, this is all shit I've seen a million times or already have. Well, now I didn't stop to think of this till a little bit afterwards that I'm not like most people to where they probably haven't seen a lot of these movies in years. So what did you guys take away from that aspect of it as far as the selection that they have to start with here?
I'll let Miss start if she wants.
For me specifically, I am not the biggest Disney fan as much as Mary on this panel. I don't know about Candace. So the selection was okay. I didn't really see anything that made me go, I haven't seen that in years. Like you said, I didn't stop and go, whoa, I gotta watch that when I saw the selection. So it was okay from what I saw and what I looked at. I just kind of wanted to see The Mandalorian and then move on with my life.
All right. Well, that speaks to your generation, though, too, because, of course, a lot of the stuff that would be on there that you've recently grown up with at all with Disney wouldn't be that far removed to where it's been available to you. I get that. Like now, Mary, Candy, you're just a little bit older than Miss, not by much.
Tom,
just a year or so.
How dare you?
Just a little, I said. Clutch your pearls.
Are you assuming their age?
I'm not
clutching
assuming
something
their
right
age.
now, but I didn't pearl.
Ouch!
No, I'll say,
Gentle.
I have two young children, 4 and 1. And so, to me, Disney's a necessity in my house. It's regardless of how I feel or not. Okay. So, my son, huge Star Wars lover. This kid, 4 years old, loves all of the originals more than, he loves some of the prequels, but he will not, if you ask him what his favorite character is, it's Darth Vader at the end of when he has his coming to light moment, taking out Emperor Palpatine. He said he loves Anakin when he becomes good again. So my kid he's spot on with understanding when, how good stories are made. And what I want to say is the issue I had, though, I love all the Star Wars content on there. Yes, he even saw The Mandalorian. He liked it. The issue is that they do not have a discernible way to filter that I'm yet. So when it comes to like, okay, what do you want to watch? And we kind of just go through, he sees pictures of certain shows and movies that I'm like, no, can't do that one. Can't do that. And try telling a 4-year-old no more than once in a 2-minute period of time. It's never good. So I hope that they have some filtering options at some point just to make it easier for parents to be able to find stuff suitable for their children.
And I would say I don't really understand why they haven't just gone ahead and released the entire library. You don't have a whole lot of new shows to be premiering up here. Look, I started to watch the World According to Jeff Goldblum or whatever that is. It was lame. Stupid. I was there going, why are we looking at sneakers right now? I don't care. What the fuck are we doing? It was so stupid. So you don't have a whole lot of hit shows and new content for you to put up there right now. Why don't you just release the library? Why don't you just release it all? What's it hurting? What's it hurting you to release everything?
Well, I can tell you part of it is they probably don't have a lot of room yet. For the fact of
that's true.
That's so stupid.
The fact that they ran into the issues they did in the first 24 to 48 hours tells me that they were underestimating the power of this. I don't think they expected it to hit as many people. And now I know a large portion of their number has got to be the Verizon people, and that's totally legal for them to do that. That's just a part of business. There's nothing you can do about that. That's just like when you bought a PS3 and it came with a game. They marked that as a sale of that pre-sale of that game already. So it's the same kind of thing. It's just a business practice. Now, it doesn't take away from the fact that 10 million people signed up, I guess. Whether it was through the free thing, through Verizon, or their own, I need to up my soy intake.
I know. I'm reading the chat.
I got distracted there, but no.
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm
working on it. Do you need me to put the fucking wig back on?
Do it. Just do it.
Oh my God. Let me finish this thought real quick, and then I will. Oh my God.
Find some blue.
But no, like what I was saying is I don't think they have the room yet. I don't think that part, and they want to have stuff to entice you with later down the road too. So it's not going to be just the new stuff all the time. They're going to be able to say next month we're going to get a new bundle of movies. Plus they have a lot of them that are still out on contract with other people.
Mhm.
Like a lot of people notice The Last Jedi isn't there, Solo isn't there, a couple of the other newer Disney
Yeah,
movies.
those won't be out till
I know, yes,
later in November.
A few of the other new Disney movies aren't on there yet because
Congratulations, Netflix! You hung on to the 2 shittiest movies from Star Wars that you could have hung on to. Good job.
Well, yeah, right. So maybe that was a plan, but but the point, the ultimate point I'm getting to is, I did notice this thing that was going around. Somebody dug into Disney Plus's, like, they did the hacking stuff. I'm not real good with the tech talk and the tech babble, but they got into their service somehow, into the underneath, and found a bunch of expiration dates for movies.
Yes, I saw that as well.
Yeah, now granted, a bunch of
speculation, right?
Yeah, well, this is a kind of a speculation thing, even though there is some evidence. But I do have some thoughts on that. What do you think, Mary? Because it sounded like you had something to say real quick.
I do think it's interesting that they're going to sort of treat this, potentially, again, rumors and speculations here, they're going to treat this like a vault situation, right? Like, movies will not always be available. So it's sort of like a prime time, come and get it while it's hot sort of people. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad move on their part, because it will certainly make customers want to remain customers, right? Because especially if you don't have any new stuff to offer. Of course, that's a good move on your part. I just think that if you're going to launch a service that's meant to be a streaming service and meant to give us options and things like that, that the stuff that you've already had for years and years and years should be a kind of a given, and then go ahead and start making new content for this service, because you're trying to keep these people around. But I do understand that tactic. I do think it's a sound tactic. They
need to vault all the current remakes of everything before they start throwing away all the old shit. I'm just saying, like let's just be honest here. It's funny, as woke as we say they all are, and I know they are, it's clear that they are capitalists to the nth degree, and they know that people love the original stuff and the older cartoons and things like that, and that's why they continue to find a way to vault them. And it's just so funny. They're not going to vault anything they've made in the last 10, 20 years. No. They need to.
It's garbage. But no, I will say I was very pleased with X-Men being up there, and that was available. Like, if nothing else, I just want to listen to that song. That's amazing, right? So that Fox acquisition is shining through for them at the moment. Like, you got some gems in there. Congratulations.
Well, actually, I think they own that anyway, because it was Marvel.
I know it was on Fox Kids.
Yeah, but that just means they didn't. That doesn't necessarily mean anything.
I'm pretty sure they acquired the X-Men in the Fox.
It depends on who owns the distribution of it. Well, Fox. No, they just got the movie rights. Marvel still owned the animation rights.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that.
And I think they, just like the Spider-Man deal, I think they also still owned the toy rights, and that's why there's never been really toys to back up the X-Men movies, if you haven't noticed.
I'm just happy to see X-Men on there.
Yeah, I think since the first movie or two, I don't think they've had toys for the X-Men movies.
Yeah.
Which is really strange.
I think I've seen some action figures from the movies before.
Maybe, but if they were probably licensed by... They've done now they have done, I think if you're talking about the ones I've seen have been like the Legends. Yes, they did a few in the Legends, but again, I believe those are completely under Marvel's.
Such a weird situation.
Well, here's the thing you guys got to remember is Avi Arad or whatever, the guy who was like really into Marvel for a long time and running it. He used to own a toy company. So that was the only reason he really bought Marvel, was so he could buy the rights for the toy crap. He didn't care what everybody did with the movies or the shows, or that part didn't really bother him. He was more concerned with being able to make the toys. So I know that they really clung on to a lot of the toy licenses. So that's neither here nor there. Let's get beyond that. The point I'm bringing up here is they originally had stated that there was going to be no vaulting of movies anymore with Disney Plus. And then they backtracked a little bit on that, because I did do a little bit of more research, and that's where my shit shines. I can't do the techno babble, but what I did find is they did get a blurb from somebody in Disney that said, "Oh yeah, there will be things going off of Disney Plus, but you're supposed to be able to download them to your you're supposed to be able to download things to your app, or from your app to your device."
Really?
But I have yet to see anywhere on PS4 or computer or anything else where I can download anything from Disney Plus.
Yeah, I haven't even seen anything, but I'll take a look into it. And they're still working on a lot of the bugs. Fair enough. I think that they should have figured a lot of this out before they launched, but that's fine. It's the situation we're in, so whatever.
So that's where I'm at, is like, if this thing is true, I guess, how does that affect your guys' thoughts on this if they're going to start taking stuff away eventually?
I'm not paying for it. So.
I know it doesn't bother me, because if I really need something, I have somebody close to me that can get it for me. So I don't care. Don't care.
Good luck on cracking down on that pirating.
Yeah,
so there's another
I have an
reason to keep
amazing
everything on
Plex
there, yeah.
library, you guys. I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky. Yeah, I just text a certain somebody, and lo and behold, in the next 30 minutes, I've got whatever best version is out there. So I'm all right with that.
Yeah, good luck on cracking down on that pirate.
Yeah,
I wish you the best.
Not gonna happen.
Disney. I wish you the best, Disney. I really do.
Yeah,
but
please.
you don't have everything I want, and if you're not planning on keeping everything I want, well, not really all.
Yeah, it's a losing battle, and they're not going to spend their money on that. Not after all the money they just spent on Star Wars. Nah.
It's a lot simpler. I'll say that it's a lot simpler to just get a streaming service and let me have what I want from it. Right? That's a lot simpler for me. I don't have to go through any hoops. I don't have
on
to
demand.
I don't have to jump through anything. That's very simple for me. But if you're gonna make me jump through hoops anyway to get what I want, then okay, bye, Felicia.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Yeah, whatever takes less clicks to get me there, I'm good with.
Right? Exactly. I would pay $7 a month for fewer clicks and fewer having to jump through hoops. But if you're gonna make me jump through hoops anyway, then more money for me.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, that's about all I got on that one, Tom. I didn't know if you had anything else that you wanted to.
Not a particularly. I mean, this is something that's going to obviously continue to go on. And if you're somebody, yeah, just like Fat Andy, you read my mind, man. Physical media. I mean, that's one thing I've always said. Yes, some people don't like to have it because it's cluttery or whatever. But you know what? You might want to hang on to a good few of your most favorite treasured movies, because you never know what's going to happen to them. Even if you have them bought on any kind of digital service, they can be revoked at any time. Anytime.
This is really easy, folks.
Well, there's that aspect of it too. But I mean, I implore
There's a nostalgia to people who have, like, the printed covers of
well, even that. I mean, even those
the
who are like,
blockbuster times of picking the movies and the VHS art, illustrations on the front and stuff.
Most of the excuses I hear are pretty silly. You can even put them away just in case, because you never know. Guess what? Your internet might go out someday, and you'll thank me for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, look, if my internet goes out, I can still plug it in.
Right, there's that aspect of it too. But yes, digital files are a plausibility, but that's
I have the physical media on. It's so
But I'm going to tell you right now, most times when you're not going to be able to download your shit from most of your that you buy from any like digital, like Apple or Vudu or any of those. You have to have that app and be able to access it to be able to watch your downloaded stuff.
Or a really great display recording device.
Yeah. One day, going to rise from the earth. Technology is going to stop working altogether.
I'm just saying,
and also the physical media, in whether it's a disc or a file like Mary had there, it also future proofs you from them fucking with shit, like they tend to do.
Like they did with the release of the freaking original trilogy. What is it? Greedo now?
Well, that was McClunky or whatever. And just for clarification, this was George who did this change many years ago, and he'd do more. He'll do more. Don't fucking tempt him. He will do more.
He'll make it so like a third person fires from a distance.
Wow.
He'll put it in his
originals on here.
He'll put it in his will somewhere that his kids have to fuck with Star Wars every 10 years just to piss the fans off.
What?
And so his
fuck your sleeping.
And so his wife will get even less money. So yeah.
Change it so Chewie shoots Greedo first.
Did we have a super chat that we hadn't covered?
Did we miss
couple
a
of them?
super chat?
I feel like Matt G. Did we cover Matt G's?
I think we got all the ones that were in here.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
Disney,
Just wanted
yeah,
to
we
make
said
sure.
film contains no plot was the last one I got.
Okay, good.
Unless we missed any after that. If we did,
No.
please let us know, folks. So.
My mind just couldn't recall.
Nope, you're fine. You're fine. But yeah, so I think we've covered this pretty well for now. It'll be interesting to see where this goes in the next year or so. I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot overseas with this. I really think they did, because they're gonna have nothing to sell to people in the UK or Australia when this thing drops in March.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these people will have already pirated The Mandalorian and all the Marvel shows that have come out between then and now, or whatever drops.
Yeah, they're gonna have to wait for whatever, Obi-Wan or whatever.
Yeah,
if
that's
they're-
what were you saying?
It is funny though that while not having Disney Plus overseas, they're trying to fight piracy at the same time. Like, you can't watch any of this, and we're going to make sure of it.
Disney are just a bunch of teases. They're just a bunch of teases. That's it.
It's probably because they don't have the infrastructure for it yet.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not even the good kind of tease, though, Candace. I just go home really frustrated, and there's no release. And now I'm still worried about having herpes, and so
That shit's like luggage. You get stuck with that forever.
I think they had I think they let people in early the night before the launch day to account for some of the mishandling over the idea of having a mass influx of people all at one time downloading, which they still end up doing. But those of us who were diligent on the Twitter sphere of finding out, okay, yeah, people in this place have gotten access. Now in this place they've gotten access. Now, it worked out. But yeah, I agree. I think it's an infrastructure thing for sure.
Well, and there's that, and the DSN1 brings up a point that is kind of relevant here too. There's probably different rights in different countries. Sky probably owns the rights to Star Wars over there for the broadcast and digital rights, so they can't get them. I know that I think they paid out a bunch of money to Warner Brothers. I think they paid out a bunch of money to TNT through Warner Brothers to get the rights for the first 3 Star Wars movies, and the prequels freed up for digital shit so they could do their thing. So I mean, it's a really funky fucking situation with rights, and I think also you also have they're not ready yet, and I think this speaks to how little power Disney really has in the overall scheme of things. When I try to remind people, don't discount Warner Brothers and AT&T.
Yeah, Warner
They're
Brothers has got it
fucking
going
huge.
on. Yes. Yes.
And you watch when they drop HBO Max, I bet it drops just about everywhere. And they are going to have something for everybody.
yeah, if they're smart, yeah.
Well, Warner Brothers has almost 100 years of stuff to draw on, just
they
like
do.
Disney. But not only that, they have a vast, 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 vast library of stuff. So,
And aren't they tied in with Universal?
no, Universal's Comcast.
Oh,
They're
that's
also
right. Okay.
they're also technically bigger than Disney. But now the infrastructure part of Comcast, I don't know how big of a reach they have. Like AT&T is huge. You know what I mean? That
The
in
streaming
comparison,
wars, guys. The
streaming
streaming
wars
I'm not
have
paying.
begun.
I'm not paying for all these services. I can't afford it. I can't. I can't.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to start making some choices because I got rid of
Yeah.
cable for a reason.
Are
Just saying.
Well, yeah, and it's like, Warner's scary, folks, especially now that they've teamed up with AT&T.
Blame the demise of Blockbuster and Hollywood Video. It was their demise that caused Netflix to rise, and now we have what we have because of it. So,
It's ease of
Yeah.
access. It's ease of
Yes,
access.
yeah. Lack of a doubt. Yes, I understand. It's technology and all that, but the inception of it all was that moment when Netflix came
Yep.
around, and then their adaptability with their how they were able to adapt, becoming from a mail to service of DVDs with a very small library of online content that they could view. That was usually B or C list movies, and then turning it around to becoming what they are today. It's kind of an interesting business model, and I enjoyed kind of reading up about it. Anyway, it's just interesting story how that all came about. Used to mail DVDs. That's how Netflix began, because Blockbuster was losing so much business.
You know what's funny about that is before Netflix even started doing that shit, or right around the same time anyway, my old business partner at that time, I told him, I'm like, I got this idea, because I used to be in the video business, and I'm like, we should rent movies over the mail. So he's like, I don't know if that's gonna work. Go find out how much it's going to cost, all this shit. I went and did all the research and found out and told him. He's like, yeah, I still don't see it working.
Yeah, and then they add video games, and now here we are.
Poor Tom.
Poor
Yeah.
Tom.
Oh, what a man. You know what, Tom, though? I'm happy that didn't happen because you know what? We might not have you here tonight with us if that was the case.
I appreciate that, but I'd much like being rich.
I'd much rather be rich.
I'd much like being rich. Okay. I think that's as good a place to any to bring this to a close.
Yeah, we all want to be rich.
I want to thank the lovely ladies and our lovely audience for joining us here on Midnight's Edge, as always. Why don't we go take a quick roundabout here and let the ladies tell you a little bit about themselves. Let's start with you, Geeky Candy, right down there underneath me there.
All right. Yeah. Favorite place to be, right below Tom, I guess. Anyway. Yeah. Woo-hoo. So I'm Candace, aka Geeky Candy, and I have a channel. Please check it out. And I have a Twitter. Please check it out. It's at Geeky Candy. It's so easy. I try to make this so easy. Instagram, Facebook, Discord. I've got it all. Come join my channel sometime and we can chat next time I'm on a live stream tomorrow night. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And I just dropped a video today, a Mandalorian Chapter 2 review. A little late, but I had a lot going on, guys. Okay. Sorry about that. I will be more consistent in the future. Probably more live streams right after the release kind of thing. Because I liked how that went. I like talking to you guys. So hope to see you guys again soon.
Mary, why don't you tell them about yourself?
Well, hi guys, I am Mary B. I am the mistress of mayhem, disruptor of the narrative, and official Wayman card holder. You can find me over on my channel, Mary Mayhem, where I talk about newsy new stuff during the week, and on the weekends I have a little fun and give you an alternative to just watching what it is that may be coming out in the theaters, because so much of it sucks these days, guys. So yeah, just come check me out. I would be happy to have you over there.
And you also need to check these ladies out on Geeks and Gamers, which they're on loan to me, like Dumbo is from Disney and Who Framed Roger Rabbit to Maroon Cartoons. I got them on loan from Disney. I don't even have to, I have not seen that movie in a couple of years. I don't have to. I know it by heart. I watched that movie almost every day as a child. From
and Roger Rabbit?
Yeah. Fucking Roger Rabbit's amazing.
I think I've seen it maybe 4 times.
I love that movie. It was so creepy the first few times because I was kind of young, but I loved it. The bad guy was creepy as hell, though.
That's a good story.
Judge Doom.
Yeah,
that's like I said.
Hater. I'm not a Baby Yoda hater, Hugo. I am concerned.
You hate Funko Pop Baby Yoda.
I hate what could be done via this. Like, there are ways they could do this, but my concern is real. So I have a video dropping on this tomorrow, guys, and I love the discussion. I really do love the discussion. It's okay. We don't always have to agree on everything. Discussion is wonderful. And we're not SJWs. We don't hate someone or slander them or call them names just because we don't agree. I adore Candace, and I appreciate her perspective on The Mandalorian. I think
likewise.
It's beautiful. So I love the discourse.
All righty. So last but not least, Miss Sarcastic Nerd.
British accent, why?
Because it just felt proper.
He can't go one stream without using an impression of some sort.
I can't stop. I can't talk in my own voice forever.
Well, we appreciate you not being a normal person, Tom.
I don't talk in a normal voice.
Just don't do
ever.
Batman. Just don't do Batman.
Oh, don't tempt me.
Don't do it.
Do Batman. No, I love Batman.
You're lucky
Batman's
we're on the main
okay.
channel. You want Batman to sell, Miss?
Introduce me, Batman.
Oh God, here we go. God,
Batman. What? What do you want? Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Sarcastic Nerd.
Thank you, Batman. Thank you.
I can read good.
He's not done yet. Let him keep going.
Yes, he is. I'm talking over Batman now. I got what I wanted, and now I'm done.
She scares me.
There we go.
Okay.
She's scarier than Poison Ivy and Catwoman put together.
Thank you.
He's still going. Wait till you give him a second.
Are you done? Are you done? I will leave now.
Thank you, Batman.
And scene. All right.
Thank you.
Don't hurt me.
Okay. I'm Miss Sarcastic Nerd, but you can call me Miss. I have a channel. I have a Twitter. I have a mouth that does not stop going. But, you know, that's fine.
She said
You
it.
can follow me. You can subscribe to me. And if you don't be surprised if you find flaming dog bags in front of your door.
That
I mean, you
escalated
could be
quickly.
surprised. You
I've
don't know
seen
what
her
I
do
mean.
it.
Usually does with Miss.
I've seen her do it.
It's the nicest thing I've done, actually, to someone.
Yeah. I'm actually missing 3 pets.
And your mother.
And
And my
and I'm missing a pinky toe.
You're not getting that back.
I know.
And I'm missing my sleep, so you know, come on, guys. I'm just kidding.
All right. Take care, everybody. We want to thank you, as always, for joining us here on Toxic Femininity on Mid. Proving that the fandom menace isn't just toxic white males. It's Toxic Femininity, brought to you by Midnight's Edge, with Miss Sarcastic Nerd, Geeky Candy, and your hostess with the mostest, the mistress of mayhem herself, Miss Mary Mayhem.